Hello, welcome to my Kirby's Adventure 80% No Major Glitches Advanced tutorial. And in this, I will show you how to do the run at a higher level of play, so you get something like a sub 50 or maybe even a top time. I will be going over a lot of advanced strats that you would see more top runners use. However, I may opt to skip a few or show some good alternatives just for simplicity's sake to help ease you into learning how to be faster or whatever. But anyway, so at the very start here in 1-1 there will be a mix for Tornado, and it's set up with manipulation because whenever you start the game fresh on a file and just get into it, the RNG resets, and if you wait longer, then they'll get out of sync, because ideally you want to start it by running to that enemy and then turning back like that. And if you mess up, then they may be off or such. But yeah, so let's get into it. 3, 2, 1. Oh. Alright, and A and B a lot just to get past the little opening. Make sure you go over that enemy. Oh my god. Okay. But make sure you also get Tornado out of it. It's the third power, so it shouldn't be too difficult. And at least if you do miss it, then there's a rather easy mix to reset on. There you go. Now, the tornadoes I use are pretty exact. They are meant to be spaced precisely enough so you can get the most out of them in any given room. However, sometimes other runners will space theirs differently or take different maneuvers through levels. And it's completely fair to go with whatever you feel comfortable with. So if you wanted to, you could study a lot of the top times and see some of the variances and similarities in their tornado routing. Now, approaching the poppy row here, for whatever reason, if you hold D, those will come towards you. It's not really that important though. And if you can get 3 hits on the first turn against him, that's really good. And then come back around for 2 more. If not, it's fine. You can get 2 and then 3. For these goal games, you press A or B right before you touch it, about 2 frames, to get the lowest possible launch to 7. You can kind of swipe from A to B or B to A in order to sort of buffer it. This enemy here can be annoying, so do be cautious when exiting the water. Also, make sure you slide off of ledges and platforms, because that speeds you up. Gives you a nice speed boost off of ends that is much better than just running off or jumping. Nice, alright. So I had kind of forgotten to mention that when you use Tornado, you don't really get to control the duration of it, at least not in most cases. but you can control how high it goes and what direction it goes in. Now, when you are fighting Wispy, make sure that you start your tornado before his health finishes filling, so that way you don't waste any extra time trying to hit him for the last turn. Because it works out so well that you go 2 and then 4 and 4. Also, fortunately, after every boss, your health gets refilled. That's very nice. In case if you were struggling a little bit and took more damage than you need to. Also, if you had skipped the potato mix in 1-1, you can grab it there off that twister. Speaking of the twister, if they start off twisting with their own tornado, make sure you don't jump and clash with theirs. Try to go under them like how I did. Okay, that wheelie can be a bit annoying sometimes. You'll possibly have a case where they jump way too much and you didn't get them all off your tornado, so just be careful to not get hurt. So our first quip is in this level here. Now the way quips work is that if you run over a one-tile gap and crouch about halfway over it, you'll end up going through the floor. However, you do need a power to do so, and Tornado happens to be perfect for this. Also, when you go through the floor, make sure you float up, because if you descend too low, you'll get stuck right next to where that Blade Knight is. So you can get right onto the seam here and jump the Tornado to the right. Now, make sure you don't hold B the whole time, or else you'll get stuck in that space up there. Be really careful about that. So here goes this arena with Tornado. That would be the desired pattern to get. Alright. Oh wait, I totally skipped over a split. Wow, okay. I guess that happens sometimes. But you get the idea. This mini boss can also be annoying sometimes for similar reasons to the wheelie, in the event that it hops too much out of your way. Sometimes you can get straight between one of those and not hit both, but in this room you can simply do this by not pressing any directions, and it's really easy. Hold. At the start, we will head left and then come back around to the right. In this room, it's a little complicated, so make sure that you follow this exactly on this blue circle here. Make sure you jump and use your tornado, and then make sure it falls down like that. and that should set you up for the rest of the room. Try to hit as many things as possible like that to reduce lag, because that room is laggy. Also, you can wait on this Starman if they're in the way. And then here, just jump straight up. Now the paint thrower here, you can do this the easy way that I show in my beginner tutorial, or you can do it like this. It might even fail. Okay, it looks like I got it. So this is a little complicated, but that is optimal. It saves you an extra tornado. Be nice. But if you have to go for it, that's fine, because if you mess up that, you'll probably get hit. I missed the, gosh. Okay, I messed that up a little bit, but that's the general gist of it, aside from missing the, Rocky and getting into the door properly. It can be tricky, but just mess with it. So finally, after 2 worlds of tornadoes, you get to discard it and use UFO in this bubble. You will pick up Tornado later on in the world. And also, if you do this room a little cleaner, you can get straight to the door with 1 tornado, but it's fine if you don't get it. So get to the right, then to the center, make sure you hit Sparky. Now, you can wait this out and it'll always give you UFO, but if you really wanted to save a little extra time, which you probably won't need to do unless you were going for like record, you could try to stop it early because it already loops over UFO just to get back to it again when it stops, but anyway. So with UFO, there's 4 different attacks. If you press it for a moment, it gives you a beam, but if you charge it more, it'll give you a laser, and then a single star and a double star. So it's really devastating. But, yeah. Gonna pop on that one, inhale some of these out, and then grab high jump. Now, here's another thing. You don't really need to get Tornado in this world unless you want like a higher time, but if you wanted to, there's two places you could go for it. You try to get it here, it's like the 3rd or 4th power, which I am not good at mixing this because I don't follow this route personally. I don't like getting Tornado here, because getting Tornado here is actually a tad slower than getting it later, but getting it later is way more difficult. So yeah, well, you get the idea. Personally, I would prefer to just keep high jump. So yeah. Oh my gosh. If you want to see how to get through here cleanly with high jump, you could refer back to the beginner tutorial I did. But just dropping that there. Go ahead and try Tornado if you really wish. It does make 3-6 easier as well as 3-5, but ironically it actually makes fighting the boss worse than with hammer. But anyways, I'm gonna drop my power. Personally, I prefer this power list. Many of the other runners do different things here, and especially if you decide to take Tornado, then you're gonna have to learn it that way, but I don't prefer it. It's easiest without a power, and it's also fastest without one too. And in this room, I purposefully get hurt there so that it reduces lag, then I can just run straight through the other enemies. And if you need that health, you can go ahead and grab it. So if you were going to get Tornado here, it'd be really difficult. It's like the 15th power or something. Plus you need these enemies to align correctly. So, I mean, look at me. So alright, if you want an alternative to grabbing Tornado here, you can again refer back to the beginner tutorial where I do it with Hammer. It goes pretty well there. But if you decided to take Tornado, then it would look something like this. Because yeah, 3-6 with Hammer, it's like, it's a little annoying. You have to be really careful to not get hurt and drop Hammer. Because then you will do very poor damage on the boss, but otherwise, moving through here with Tornado is just a lot nicer. When you get to this gap, go to the left. And even though, if the Blade Knight retreats, you're usually safe to keep going, but if you don't feel comfortable, you can still pop on him. Oh my gosh. Okay, so with Tornado, you have to do 5 hits to Shine and Bright each. Okay. If you can get it just right, you can, gosh, if you can get it just right and they don't move, you can take them out in 1 Tornado each, which is part of why it's really annoying to have to use Tornado on these two. Meanwhile, with Hammer, it's just 3 hits on both of them, and it doesn't matter if you guess wrong or if you're not, like, positioned right. But, yeah, so... yeah. Whatever the 2 you get, pick your poison. Make sure you take out that one there. They add in some lag when they use their beam. Oh my god, you can't be serious. Alright, that was nice. Okay. That's not a mistake that should occur, really, but cool. And also, ironically, lost the UFOs here, but... whatever, I'll just continue. Luckily, I mean, I guess if you have a dumb goof like that, it's fine, because you'll get... you'll get Tornado in this level anyway. But, yeah, that was pretty annoying. But yeah, that's why my splits, they say UFO and Tornado, if you go ahead and skip that. So you'd go ahead and grab Tornado here, slide off, and do this. Slide down there, slide over here, slide again, and go up. Right over here, but don't hold any direction or else you might drift off into the water over to the left. And here, I'm going to take the top path, which is a little more complicated than the bottom path, but I'm very used to it. So if you want to take the bottom path, you could watch an older run by, like, Rodnan, I believe. That would be a good example of that. But here, you want to be careful. It's not too scary once you get used to it. The pattern these two can give you can vary. Alright, that was nice. But yeah, there's some variance there. The left one can stay in the corner. And if the left one stays in the corner, then you can take them out in 1 full Tornado and then just focus on the one on the right only. But if they jump, then you're gonna hit that one 3 times on the left. And then go over to the right and take both of them out. So here, personally, I run to about this point and then use my Tornado. And then another, and that spaces me to be over that enemy. Because otherwise, you have to space it some other way. be careful to not get hurt in this tornado. Oops. Okay, I did not need the jump there. Alright, that was pretty sloppy. That's my bad. But be careful. Make sure you hold left at the end there, or else you will get hurt. Now, what I'm going to go for in the next level is that I'm going to mix for wheel at the start. Normally, you can just use Tornado. You can use Tornado through the first 2 rooms and then grab wheel, but it saves you some time if you do it early. If you want to go for it. It's not too difficult. The most difficult thing is getting them together. But there you go. This is the only time you use wheel in the run, and you just press B to cancel it after you hit the Blade Knight. And there goes wheel if you had to grab it here. And you can skip that bomb block, which is both faster and also in case you somehow aren't able to outpace it, you won't lose time on that. Now, I'm going to stress before I get in here that this mix is really difficult for UFO. It's really difficult mostly because of the positioning that you need to grab these two, more so than it is the actual mix itself, but both can be challenging, so hopefully I'll be able to get it and show, but if not, then you, again, can watch a top run, for example. Sometimes people like to touch the wall to pace themselves out. For a Q, like the middle of the fountain here is about where you need to jump. You're gonna have to jump like such, but if it's not specific, your inhale range won't get both of them. So okay, good. I like how I talked about it a lot and hyped it up. I was worried I wasn't gonna get it, but yeah. So this is a very good example. You'll clear through the blocks like this, and then drop it like that. If you were to get throw, should you mix it, that can be pretty bad, but there's actually been a good backup lately that Wakaza came up with. Nobody would have ever thought, oh, just use throw, but I'll probably link to that and some other resources in the description. And burning here, off the 2 Blade Knights, it was a instant mix, so you just hold B the moment you inhale them. And that's the way you want to do the arena. It can be annoying though, because the one enemy that spawns on the top left can vary where they are at. And if you can't get them reliably, then that will lose you. That'll mess up the pattern you're going for and can lose you some time. But this room is annoying because the enemies that drop down, they can vary as well. And sometimes they'll unexpectedly catch you. And if you're going to use 2 here, make sure you space them well. Okay, so ideally you want to be taking burning into this level. If you don't have burning, then you can probably go back for it, like if you drop it near the end, since the mix is at the start, because you at least need something to do this flip. This is probably the hardest clip in the game, speaking of, and I forgot to mark it on my spots I see. But yeah, so it's the same as pretty much any other grounded clip, but you don't have any room to run pretty much, and that's part of what makes it so difficult. But when you do get it, you want to use burning like such. So yeah, slide jump over that, drop it, hit this one, high jump. There's health on the left up there if you need it, but otherwise just high jump to the door. Alright, and now it's Krakow time. So when you want to approach Krakow, you want to go as straight up as possible because it saves you time. Because when you have to turn it, for whatever reason, I don't know, it takes longer. And some of these, most of these, you'll use the entire full jump to reach these platforms, but the last 2 here and the one with the first Starman that I hit, you can hit it early. And speaking of, you can cancel your high jump after you hit something with it. Do be careful if you go for that hit there. Also, if you get this, you can just wait for him to come to the center. It's best to try to end that fight as close to the center as possible. Now, here, this movement is a little difficult. I'll probably even mess it up. You could watch, like, Rodnan's PV for a good example. Okay, never mind. That went mostly fine. Aside from jumping into that cannon, but yeah. This mix right here can be a little tricky to get sometimes, because if you, you'll either essentially run into the one Rocky on accident, or just end up missing the mix altogether. Even though it's only the second power, sometimes you just might not be ready for it, and it happens. And if you want to retry, then you can jump into the pit, but you lose like 15 seconds for it, so... I still advise practicing it, even though it's rather easy. And then the movement down the room afterwards, it was very specific. I do recommend trying to copy that exactly, but I do want to point out here, in the event that you do miss Tornado and you decided to skip onwards, there's this museum here that you get after the first level that has Tornado right there. If you want to go into the second level with it, it is a bit of backtracking, but I think it's worth it, because this level is a lot better with Tornado than it is without. Now, at the start here, this is going to be a little complicated. If you do this wrong into the water, you'll get hit by the Blade Knight and you'll drop Tornado right at the start. But if you do this right, like, almost aligned in the middle here of the shape below me, or at least against the left side of this, start your Tornado, and then dip into the water like that, and you'll be fine. But the closer you are to the Blade Knight, the more likely you are to get struck by him. So that's cool. Sometimes I drop my jump input here, but you'll want to come out like that. Float up. Jump up, jump up, jump up, jump Tornado, and there you go. And having Tornado makes it so much better dealing with the bonkers here. One of the oldest methods was to use Ball, which I found to be difficult, and in my beginner's route I just said use Sword, similarly to how you would in World 3 if you were to skip Tornado there. Now, I am going to be a bit crazy, so one of the more advanced things that I probably wouldn't recommend usually is that I'm going to show you how to do the next level with Tornado, which means the end of this level, I'm going to be doing it a lot differently from how I would otherwise. Now, doing 5-4 with Tornado is pretty difficult, so I'll show a simplified way, or at least an easier way to get through there. But yeah, so at the end of this level, you're going to be taking a lot of damage, so if you don't have enough health, that's scary. You at least need 4, 5, or 6 health. It's better the more you have, though. And chop Tornado here, inhale it, and then fall down like this. So you're guaranteed to miss all that. Now, if you do have enough health and you felt like being careful, you can go ahead and grab this over here. Otherwise, if you think you can float between there perfectly, which, I mean, you can definitely practice. You don't have to ever let go of Tornado. Come in here. But yeah, so for this, you're gonna wanna go over here, go back, go right. So make sure you always go to the left first before going right. Now, I'm not even going to bother showing you how to get through here because I feel like that's probably the most difficult thing. So if you want to use Tornado here, you can go ahead and just take such. And now this arena with Tornado can be pretty fun. I may mess it up though. Let's see. Okay, now I got it just right. So yeah, this means you get to skip using ball, which is great because ball is insufferable. Do be careful about the way you get over there. Also, I meant to go a little higher. Try to keep your tornado a bit higher than that to make sure you don't go too low. And you can jump in tornado to this one. The only downside to using tornado in this level is that you don't have to go down here with tornado. So I personally recommend going this way. And there you go. Now, if you did any other alternatives where you didn't use tornado, now would be the good time to, the best time actually, to grab it out of the museum up here. But if not, continue on. Oh my gosh, I keep dropping my A input there. Okay, slide like this. I totally messed that up in the beginner tutorial. I was like, oh my gosh. Because if you don't approach that just right, then there's going to be like an enemy in your way. And then you have to puff on them and just take it really slow. But anyway, so this tutorial, I'm going to go through here fully with this. So right where the edges meet, right on this line, you float between there, just like so. Fine. Now, ideally, you want to get Kirby's mouth lined up with the other slope, so you clip through the wall on that side. You can, don't do that. I'm not always the best at it, but you get to the end, you can, like, press A, and it'll put you through there. I don't know. I might not be the best at describing it, but I'm trying. So, what's most important is that when you're under the ground, make sure you don't press A too high, and then you'll be stuck in the middle there, but if you go too low, you'll be stuck under the floor and you'll have to die. So, just gotta take it safe. And you can tornado to the door over here, but I spent so much time just talking about it. So yeah. Alright. Don't be like me and get your correct launches off there. One thing I'm not going to show you is how to use tornado to get out of here, just because it's not really needed, but it does look pretty cool. The only runner who does that is Swordsmankirby, but I don't know. Not really all that necessary. I will show you another thing though that you can do in the next world, however, I recommend. But yeah, that level shouldn't be difficult. Then Heavy Mole also shouldn't be a problem with tornado. Wait for the health to fill and then hit him 7 times. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 3 more times. Be careful to not, like, try to control your tornado's height really well, because the 2 arms on the top and bottom of them, they're not weak points at all. They're not weak points, but if you, like, start hitting them, you'll grind against them for a good while, and it'll waste more time, so be careful. Be careful here to not get hurt. You don't have to take out that one, but if you do, like if you want to for safety, you can. Now I run out of that. I run from that to make sure I make it up there and then I slide. But yeah. And now this room. Try to be careful. Try to do something similar to this, if not exactly the same. Or at least what? Oh my god. Okay. I totally messed up something about that. I probably didn't jump off the right one. I'm actually gonna go back and correct that. Yeah, or, you know, just watch other runners, what they do. That would make a lot more sense. I think the ideal thing would have been to jump up here and then do it. Yeah, that seems right. Because then you actually get to the door safely. But, yeah. also messing up this room. Amazing. Not doing a very good job for you guys, I apologize. So the ideal movement would be to bonk into that and then come left. Something of the sort. And then just continue on like such. Again, just refer to a top time how they want to go through there. It gets really confusing your first few times, and if you're rusty, it seems, but yeah. Fall down, tornado as you land, jump up. Alright, I am so good at this. Alright, again, just refer to a different time. I think my issue was the way that I started that tornado. I was supposed to jump with it, but that's fine. If you do actually lose it at the end there, you literally will not waste that much time because you don't use tornado in this room anyway. And there's a backup one, as it says on my splits. But yeah, I apologize for that. I mean, I personally use tornado in this room on the rise up here, but you don't have to. You gotta make sure you walk over here and then slide like that. Then grab it over here, and then do be careful for like the rest of this world if you want to do this optimally. Okay, slide 1, 2, 3, start rising after the third one, and you'll make it up here. Make sure you jump over this one, jump here, jump up here, and then stay on the left. And then in this next room, I'll show you how to tornado through here very carefully, but you must do it exactly this way or else you'll potentially risk losing tornado and you don't want to drop it. Don't want to drop it at all because you won't get it back. So the idea here, I'm going to hold A, and as soon as I do the water, I'm going to press B. I'm not going to press any directions, period, just stay neutral. And then after tornado ends, or after you land in the water, keep holding A until you get out of the water again, and then press B, and then you can steer yourself right. So it looks like this. There you go. Now I really want to stress how you don't mess it up. If you're gonna go for that, at least. Some people do use different methods, but I prefer that. It's really easy as long as you don't do anything but that. Now, this clip here can be pretty difficult, both in terms of actually clipping through the ground. Sometimes that's tricky, but then also maneuvering down here. You want to make sure, above all else, do not go too low. It's okay to go high as long as if your head pokes out a little bit, but you definitely would rather want to poke out of the top than the bottom if you mess up, because if you get stuck on the bottom, you can't even retry this, because this will save you quite a bit of time compared to going the intended way. But yeah. So in this room, you'll want to bait that coconut ball, and then you can just go straight up. It's really easy. The 2 tornadoes here. Then I'm gonna fall into the water first, and then you can tornado your way out. Put up here, careful to not stay too close to the side, but if you drop here, you can either puff on this one, or you can tornado into them, doesn't really matter. In this next room, I will admit I'm still not the most polished. on like what route you exactly want to take through here, so I would recommend possibly copying other runners. Yeah, it gets really annoying because of the slopes. But at best, you can clear through that room in 3 or 2 tornadoes. Now, going full tornado through the rest of this level here, compared to grabbing UFO and easier route, it can get challenging in the UFO room, but hopefully if you get it first off, you need a good pattern right at the start. Make sure no tornadoes try to run into you, but if you can do that, ideally this should go well. Okay, well, that could have been much worse, but yeah, if the tornado already wasn't there when coming into this room, it would have been better to do like this. That would be the best pattern to get. But anyway, being this low on health isn't good, so if needed, I recommend getting that. Because you'll want to make sure you don't reset for health for Meta Knight, because if you have to, then you lose Tornado. Oops, I messed this up. That could have been done in just one tornado, but yeah. Up into the water, tornado out. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's supposed to be from the other platform. Apparently I can't remember anything somehow. But yeah. So this arena of tornado is pretty nice. At least the way I prefer to do it. Okay, don't get stuck under there. That is terribly annoying. And would you look at that? Nice. So yeah, this arena can be challenging, for sure. If only that didn't happen. Oh my god, you can't be serious. Oh my god. Well, you could watch my TV or something. I apologize. Just be careful not to let that happen to you. And also, a big reason why you definitely don't want to get hurt is, again, you don't want to reset before Meta Knight, so you go in with exactly as much health as you have. And if it gives you a really bad pattern, then you could be screwed. Yeah, I'm not surprised. But would you look at that? Also, didn't even clear this. Gosh. But at least, I guess if you do die, you get to keep Tornado, which, I mean, I don't know. Just try to do better than me. This game is hard, and I'm not playing with states to show a perfect example, which probably would have been a better idea, but you know what, just gonna go through with it. So yeah, if you can manage to not die, it'd be great. Now you can do the beginning of World 7 here, right now, which is much faster than entering without it. Now you'll still do a clip, just like you would normally, but you'll set it up differently. And also now you can use Tornado in this room as well, and hopefully I shouldn't mess this up. Okay, good. So yeah, that can be pretty, oh my god. Alright, this is nice. But yeah, using that tornado maneuver can be pretty dangerous, so do be careful. There are some alternatives to doing that. Alright. Banner. Personally, you can do this without ever picking up Hammer and just using Tornado the whole way, but you need stupid luck for that, so I wouldn't really recommend it almost ever. But if you just stand still here with Hammer, you can get that attack you'll always be able to get that pattern. And then if you stand over here... Okay. Alright. Nice. Well, I didn't get a good pattern. Oh my god. Nice. Oh my god. The Bugsy is just styling on me, I guess. Alright, well, ideally you'll get the optimal pattern I showed off in the beginner tutorial. Trying to react to other attacks is rather difficult. But whatever. Okay. So here, you can mix for Tornado as soon as this point. Alright. If you do happen to fail though, this is the original setup I use. Which, again, if you happen to fail it, set it up again over here. There we go. It's only, you know, not losing that much time, but yeah. Let's try your best to go up here like such. It is, okay, it can be rather difficult. Sometimes you'll get stuck in a few places, and if you get hurt, then you're pretty much not going to be able to recover your tornado. But anyways, in this room, I like to personally go through with this pattern, at least skipping the candy. Jump and then tilt back a bit before going on. Jump over here. And this tornado all the way to the door. Tornado in this room makes it a lot better to deal with, but it is still a bit annoying sometimes, especially if that Twister decides to tornado as well. Tornadoing through these first two rooms is your safest bet. Sometimes I go ahead and risk it myself anyway, though, if you felt like doing that. And if something like that happens, then you don't have the tornado at all, which is why sometimes I don't do that. The rest of these rooms are all fairly consistent. And then this is the ideal way to get through there. Wait for that, pass by. Hit this one and that one. I recommend getting a little closer before using Tornado, just to make sure you don't like get bad luck. In this room, it can be really complicated, so what I'm going to go for, I'll actually pull it up and I'll show. Right around here is where you want to start your Tornado when you jump into this current. If you don't time it just right, there is a good chance you might get hit by one of the flamers, or whatever it's called. So do be careful. So this one right here, there's a chance, yeah, like that, you'll fall onto it. But yeah, that's cool. Oh my god, I was trying to inhale them to get Tornado. But, yeah. Just be careful. It's annoying. Ah. Well, if you do drop Tornado and you don't mix for it there, the backup is to take the, take Burning into the next level. But, personally... Wait. Personally, I'm just gonna go back and grab Tornado anyway. Show. Okay, cool, I actually got it first try. Alright. Sometimes you can land right up here if you do that well enough. Now, doing this is a lot easier than with Burning. It's what I would personally prefer it. I recommend it. Tornado, as soon as you land there, jump over this way, and then right around here. There. Okay, that was a little too far. Tornado down. Oh my god. Okay, you can Tornado down here, and then straight up the other one. If you do it right. It's a little difficult, I guess. But, you can also flip through here, optionally, if you feel like it. Only saves a little bit of time. And by this point, you don't need Tornado anymore. In fact, be doing manipulation on Dedede in here. So I'm gonna reset now, and then go through door 4. Make sure you don't bump into anything on the way unless you set up manipulation differently if you know what you're doing. But otherwise, come up here to check. Okay, cool. So the first star went to the left, and the second one went to the right. If you weren't that advanced in the RNG seed, then you'd probably have one come out the top, and then before the left and right. But as long as it comes out the right, that's how you know it should be set right. And now you can go through the door, hold down, get into place here, and start jumping. As long as it's set right, you should always hit this pattern, no matter what. Now, I will go ahead and link a video to that in the description with full clarity on how to do such. Now for the orb and then the wizard fight, respectively, both have entirely fixed patterns, so you should always be able to handle them exactly the same. Do try to be careful to not get hurt so much. Usually a little easier, or it's usually safer to react to these the further away you are. But just do your best to mash on them. And hope that you don't get an unfortunate case of a soft lock. Sometimes that can happen. But it's very rare. Very, very rare. Now the only things that are random in this are on the 1st and 5th turns, where he'll spawn at, and how long he waits until he attacks. It's almost the same, but sometimes it's a little bit off. So, do try to practice this fight for those variances. I personally like to stay as far away as possible to react better. Because like the closer I am, the more likely I am to time it. Now, I recommend going behind because that is the easiest way to hit him. He both exposes himself sooner from behind, and also, if you hit him before he attacks, then there's no lag. Because if you try to fight him from the front when he attacks, it's really laggy and difficult. Oh my gosh. So yeah. Definitely wasn't prepared for the fifth turn, but sometimes that'll happen. As long as you get the 6, you can go ahead and finish it on the 7th instead. And yeah, there we go. That's not a particularly great time for the route I just showed, but hopefully if you can hit it all together much cleaner than I did, along with some top runs to follow as other examples, you'll get a sub 50 real easy. I did have a handful of major mistakes in there, but yeah, hopefully that'll help you go a little bit farther in this game. Thanks for watching. I hope it helps.